Castles are amazing. This amazing castle was built by Henry VIII nearly 500 years ago and incredibly was brought back to life for World War II to defend against attack. This is St Catherine's Castle in Fowey, Cornwall, England. This video will provide a brief history, context and visiting tips, and also a little bit about this area that incredibly has the ruins of 3 castles, or this castle and 2 blockhouses depending on terminology. Please stay to the end for all the details. I aim to visit and make short videos on many castles across the country in addition to my regular ones, so please like, subscribe and click the alerts bell for future releases. Thank you for watching Eclectic Experience, change seen through images. St Catherine's Castle is located here in Fowey, Cornwall, on the River Fowey opposite Polruan and about 8 miles from St Austell. We can see it here on this map from Historic England. The castle is a Grade 2 listed building and also a scheduled ancient monument. On this map we can also see the Fowey Blockhouse, also known as the castle remains at harbour mouth, and on the other side of the river, Polruan Castle or Blockhouse. These 2 buildings provided a harbour chain defence prior to St Catherine's being built. I've also done a separate video on Polruan Castle, link at the end. For context, let's look at monarchs. The chart I've made goes from the present King Charles III back to William I. St Catherine's Castle was built in 1540 as part of King Henry VIII's defence strategy. Picking another couple of dates on its timeline, it was involved in the English Civil War in the 1640s during the reign of King Charles I. It was then re-equipped for the Crimean War in Queen Victoria's reign, and then was brought back for the use in World War II as a defence battery in the reign of King George VI. Some context and history. In 1538, the Pope encouraged France and the Holy Roman Empire, which was a sort of forerunner of Germany, to attack England following Henry VIII breaking with the Catholic Church so that he could get a divorce. As a result, Henry VIII tried to fortify the south coast, and St Catherine's Castle was one of these fortifications, replacing the 2 earlier fortifications which used a harbour chain close to the harbour. St Catherine's Castle, rather than the chain, utilised guns for protection. And as the centuries progressed and gun technology moved on, the castle had to be modified and adapted to house these new weapons. So why build the castle here? Well, in the Middle Ages, Fowey and Polruan were important shipbuilding, maintenance and sea trade ports that would be a target for an enemy attack. Also, in the event of an invasion, it was a deep water harbour that will be very useful for an invading force. So what remains today? The castle is essentially a D-shaped stone building on a very prominent position at the top of steps with a superb view over the harbour entrance, which is why it was positioned here. Because its varying uses over time, the building has been modified as necessary. So to start with, if we go up the steps, which incidentally are Victorian design, we get a good view of the later Victorian gun platforms down below. Then if we keep going, we get to the tower itself. As we enter the tower, we can see it's been partly cut out of the cliffside and then built using slate and rubble walls. Just look at how thick the walls are. This was to give as much protection as possible from enemy guns. Looking at the ground floor, we can see the semicircular gun ports that would have been used to fire out across the water. Then looking up, obviously the floor is missing, but we can see more gun ports on what would have been the first floor and smaller openings that could have been used for other weapons. Right at the top would have been a parapet walk, offering further views over the estuary and another defensive position. If we look at the remains of the outside of the curtain wall, we can see slits that could have been used for firing muskets if an attack was to come from land. Looking down from the outside of the tower, we can see the Victorian gun positions and see that the castle is in such a good defensive position on the cliff edge. If we go around the corner, there is a very rusty fence here against the steep cliff edge and judging by how much it has deteriorated, it must have been here for a very long time. Visiting tips. The castle is administered by English Heritage and can be visited free at any reasonable time. If driving there, I found it best to park in Fowey, enjoy the town, and then walk along the path to the castle. It is a great location with wonderful views, and it can be clearly seen why St Catherine's Castle was located here by Henry VIII and why it was refitted and reused right up to and including the Second World War. Not bad for a 500-year-old castle. This is the link to my Polruan Castle or Blockhouse video, and this is the one to a link to my Dartmouth Castle video where I explain a bit more about the harbour chain. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please like, click alerts for future releases and subscribe. Brought to you by Eclectic Experience. Change seen through images.